Coming up on Sunday Sports Day, the Yankees, Expos, and Royals race to baseball's earlier finish.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
The field's youngest driver wins NASCAR's newest race. Cal Ripken Jr.'s long journey goes beyond 2000, and he's not slowing down.
I always thought that I'll be able to play a long time, and I'll be able to play a defensive position instead of just moving over to DH, which a lot of players do towards the end of their careers.
After 2 Super Bowl rings and a quick trip to KC, Tony Casillas could be heading back to Dallas. After a battle with cancer, Paul Azinger returns to the tour. The NFL travels to Tokyo. Baseball's elite are enshrined in Cooperstown. Dream Team 2 begins its quest for a title. Don't worry, we won't disappoint you here on Sunday Sports Day.
Sports Weekly is presented by Delta Airlines.
Good morning and welcome to ESPN Sunday Sports Day. 2.5 hours of everything you need to know about in the world of sports and the business of sports. I'm Mike Lupica, sitting in for Dick Schaap, who's not on strike, just on vacation. But there may be just 5 days until there's another strike in baseball. And if that happens, if the players really do walk after Thursday's games, baseball's fans are going to feel as if they've been cheated out of one of the most splendid regular seasons in years. At a time when baseball's come off the ropes, it's again in danger of knocking itself out. And we've got basketball with Dream Team 2, which has only looked like a dream pounding that powerhouse from China. And college football might finally find a way to settle the national championship on the field instead of over the telephone. And the NFL, of course, is in mid-preseason form. Jack Edwards is here to guide us through our opening hour, Sports Weekly. And Jack, let me ask you a question that I asked in my newspaper column today. The owners obviously thought this season was worth preserving before it even began because they didn't lock the players out of spring training. So shouldn't this season now be 100 times more valuable than it was then?
Yeah, this is exactly what baseball has needed for so many years. I doubt in our lifetimes that we'll ever see so many players taking so many shots at so many great records again.
Jack, if it was worth something in April, it's got to be worth more in August, and that's why I keep hoping that something good might still happen before Friday.
All right, Mike, we'll get back to you. Something great is happening in Houston, and Jeff Bagwell is the man who's making it happen. 3/4 of a season may be enough for Jeff Bagwell to rewrite the Astros' full-season record book. On Friday night, he set club records for home runs, RBIs, and extra base hits. After what he did last night, he's within 5 of Houston's record for total bases in a season. At the Astrodome, the big biceps of Jeff Bagwell. His first time up. And you leave one above the waist, he'll deposit it above the fence. Nice hang time for number 39 on the year, 3-2 Stros. Matt Williams, of course, is the National League home run leader, outside part of the plate, and he just muscles it right out of the ball yard. Giants are down by 3 runs. Dusty Baker still working on that patty cake thing. Todd Benzinger pinch hitting. Giants down by 1 in the 9th. He singles to center. Mike Benjamin is going for third, and Bagwell puts the tag, Caminiti rather, puts the tag on him. And Benjamin obviously not Baker's man. 8-7, Houston wins a 1-run game with somebody gunned down at third. Pete Harnisch gets the win. That's 5 in his last 6 decisions. Bagwell is now 18 for 31 against San Francisco pitching this season. That's a .581 batting average with 5 home runs and 16 RBIs. Not bad for 9 games. Atlanta at Cincinnati. Greg Maddux may be on his way to his 3rd straight Cy Young Award. Tony Fernandez has never taken a 3rd strike, which was in the strike zone, at least not in his opinion. Dave Justice puts the wood to a Jose Rio pitch. Kevin Mitchell does his weighty best to push back the left field wall. That's not going to work. It's 1-0 Braves. Brett Boone comes up, goes up the middle. Rafael Belliard throws to first. He's out by sound. Slap thud. You're gone. Boone doesn't believe it. Surprise, surprise, the ump doesn't change his mind. Braves win 2-1. Atlanta manager Bobby Cox lifted Maddux after 99 pitches, even though the Braves bullpen has blown more than 1/3 of its save opportunities this season. Mike Stanton gave up 2 hits. Mark Wohlers came in, gave up an RBI single, but then he closed it out. Montreal at Philadelphia. They honored Hall of Famer Steve Carlton, digging out the old Chevy Impala for lefty. Bottom of the 9th, John Wetland working with a 2-run lead. John Kruk pinch hitting. And Kruk cranks one out to tie the game at 3 and send it to extra frames. Kruk was happy to hear that he had an abdominal strain because it confirmed he had abdominal muscles. Go to the 11th inning. Will Cordero at third. Lou Frazier with the Baltimore chop north. Doug Jones tries the flip. No, he's safe. Expos win it in 11, 4-3. Montreal remains 5 games ahead of Atlanta in the National East with the best record in baseball. Larry Walker has 44 doubles now. That's only 2 shy of Warren Cromartie's team record, which has stood for 15 years. American League, Texas at Oakland. Sacks packed in the bottom of the 8th. Texas with a 4-1 lead. Tom Henke on the hill for the Rangers. Ruben Sierra singles to center. 2 runs scored to get the A's within 1-4-3. Troy Neal going for third. Safe. Terry Steinbach had the game-winning hit Friday night. Lines it to right. Chris James dives. Can't get it. Neal scores. Sierra follows. Oakland wins 6-4. The A's are within 2.5 games of the Western leading Rangers now, which sounds good until you look at the standings and realize that Oakland is still 11 games under 500. Dennis Eckersley gets his 18th save. The White Sox and Angels in Anaheim. Top of the third, 2-0 Chicago. Andrew Lorraine facing Frank Thomas, and Lorraine gets quiche goodbye. The big hurt with a skyrocket. 4-0 White Sox lead, number 38 on the year for Frank Thomas. Still in the 3rd inning. Darren Jackson with a drive to left center field. Jim Edmonds diving and getting dirty, making a nice catch out by the wall. 4-run lead for the White Sox in the bottom of the 5th inning. J.T. Snow comes up with 2 aboard. That's a 3-run dinger to cut the lead down to 1. Into the bottom of the 9th, 10-9 White Sox. That's Roberto Hernandez facing Bo Jackson. Jackson a little tapper to third. Robin Ventura up with it and throws it away. Past Thomas. Harold Reynolds goes into pinch run. Greg Myers comes up. That's a game-tying single. 10-10 and into the 10th. Joey Cora comes to the plate for the Chi Sox, and that'll be a game-winning single. Darren Jackson had led off with a double. 11-10 White Sox win. Angels pitchers walked 13 White Sox, which ties a California record for inaccuracy in an extra inning game. The only White Sox batter not to walk was Lance Johnson. Tim Salmon is the first Angel since Wally Joyner to hit 20 or more homers in each of his first 2 seasons. Seattle at Kansas City. The Royals going for 15 in a row and just packing it in at Kauffman Stadium. Mark Gubicza to Luis Sojo. Not a bad pitch, but good piece of hitting. Then Felix Fermin gets one up. Reggie Jefferson puts one nearly out. A couple of runners score on the double, and it's getting away. Hippolito Pichardo comes on to face Jay Buhner. He walks him 2 aboard for Edgar Martinez. And that is a 3-run home run and the end of a 14-game winning streak. The Mariners take it 11-2. It should come as no surprise that Seattle was the team to end the 2nd longest winning streak in Royals history, because the Mariners were the guys who ended the Royals' longest win streak, stopping the 16-game blitz of 1977. Every once in a while, a pitcher gets rocked. Last night was the rocker for Mark Gubicza. In his first 2 starts during the Royals' win streak, he allowed only 10 hits while pitching more than 15 innings. Last night, 11 hits in only 3 frames. The Cheese League went to Japan last night. 2 teams which train in the upper Midwest took it to Tokyo for the preseason Japan Bowl. It was the first appearance in the horned hat for Warren Moon, who had been wearing oil derricks on either side of his head while hearing bells inside of his head. As an Oiler, it's a nice adjustment to have to make, getting used to protection. Warren Moon taking the 7-step drop, although his timing was a little off at times. He's fighting Jake Reed, who might just get showcased up in Minnesota. Joe Montana, 38 years old. This is a guy who's tremendous in January, not always sharp in August. Matt Blunden steps in for the Chiefs, looks deep in the lake for Lake Dawson, a 56-yard touchdown. The game is in Japan, and that's very courteous to Bow. Amp Lee, is this the Vikings' year? He bolts the corner and gets in there. 7 carries, 53 yards for Lee, and the Vikes win 17-9. Moon, 6 for 9, 85 yards. Gino Torretta, 3 for 4 for 33. Andre Ware, 0 for 2. But Ware is in good statistical company because Joe Montana went 0 for 4. Pittsburgh at Miami, and Dan Marino, his first action since the ruptured Achilles tendon, looking for Mike Williams down the right side. He's behind the DBs, and that's a 78-yard touchdown pass. Business as usual for Dan Marino. 14-0 Dolphins 2nd quarter. Rookie Charles Johnson can make bad throws look good on the stat sheet. That's a wounded duck from Mike Tomczak, but Johnson is the real thing. Steelers trail 14-7. Marino chills out after the first quarter. Pretty good game for him, and the Dolphins win 24-14. How good does Dan Marino's line look to Dolphins fans? He's in the game for only 14 plays, 3 for 5 for 99 yards and a touchdown. For Pittsburgh, rookie receiver Charles Johnson, 4 catches for 77 yards in spite of a banged-up shoulder. We can assure you that Sunday Sports Day will continue in a minute, but is there any assurance or even hope that the Major League Baseball season will continue for another week? We'll look at the prospects for a strike ahead. And there's more preseason NFL action coming your way. Where the Broncos showcasing Tommy Maddox, the man who took him in the draft, is now coaching the Giants. Might need some QB help.
Sports Weekly is presented by Delta Airlines. You'll love the way we fly.
Taking a look around the American League last night, Yankees against the Twins. They're going to miss Kent Hrbek in Minnesota. He announced his retirement earlier this week, effective at the end of the season, and they're going to miss his power. 457-foot home run, and the Twins are up 6-2. Into the 6th inning, and Don Mattingly comes to the plate. Can the Yankees come up with one of those great comebacks? Well, Pat Mahomes apparently doesn't even want to pitch to him. It has to cross into foul ground to be a actual pitch. That was no pitch. Twins win 10-4. Orioles Brew Crew. Les Aspin, a former Secretary of Defense, seeing some pretty nice defense. Mike Devereaux into the frame to make the diving catch. Mark McLemore in foul ground, right at first base. Jose Valentin going to try to tag and score and gets gunned down. O's win 5-0. Shutout for Arthur Rhodes. Red Sox won the afternoon game in the day-night doubleheader, but in the night game, the Indians' Carlos Baerga goes bye-bye off Chris Nabholz to make a 1-0 Tribe. Into the 3rd inning, it's Baerga bye-bye again, a 3-run dinger. 5 of Baerga's last 6 hits have been home runs. Plenty of support for El Presidente, Dennis Martinez, Wes Chamberlain. Look at this thing move. Called strike 3, and Scott Fletcher gets the same treatment. Indians win 7-0. Cecil Fielder's home run was his 26th of the season, but his first dinger in more than 2 weeks as the Tigers beat the Jays 3-2. Joe Carter steals a base, the 200th of his career. He's only the 10th major leaguer ever to steal 200 and hit 300 home runs. The Marlins win their 4th out of 5, 4-3 over the Mets. Jeff Conine hits a 3-run double. Rob Nen saves number 14. The Padres' Frank Castillo has a shutout for 8 2/3 innings before settling for a 7-1 win over the Padres. The Cardinals have won 3 in a row for the first time since the 1st of July. Zane Smith remains stuck on 9 wins as Dan Maselli blows his lead. Smith has gone 5 straight starts without winning. Considering the sorry history of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their past indicates that they won't often have the chance to win a game in the final 2 minutes on the 2-point conversion. But if and when they get that chance, they'll be as dangerous as any NFL team because they've got the best trick play coach in the league, Sam I Am, against his former team, Sam Weich's former team, the Bengals. Big Daddy Dan Wilkinson, first pick in the draft, welcome to the NFL, getting cut down. Late in the 3rd quarter, 9-9. Mark Vlasic, not that sharp. Lance Gunn goes in. It's 16-9 Bengals. Trent Dilfer, millionaire, has a nice look from the sideline. 4th quarter, TD makes a 16-15. Yeah, it's the direct snap. Vince Workman goes in and scores. And it's 17-16. Tampa Bay wins it. Yes, the Oil Derricks against the Lightning Bolts. Cody Carlson, the new starter for Houston. They picked him over Warren Moon. 30-yarder to Ernest Givens from, Tom Jackson isn't here, Louisville. Yes, it's a 4 field goal night for Al Del Greco. How's that for exciting? Oilers win 31-3. The Falcons with a new man at quarterback against the Denver Broncos, who give their rookie a try. Yes, it is Jeff George in his first game as a Falcon. Gets some time, feels the pressure, moves left, and hits Andre Rison, who's into the end zone, in the house, burning down the house. And what is this? Shannon Sharp in his face, in his stadium. Tommy Maddox goes deep. Anthony Miller, the guy the Broncos got from San Diego. Broncos win 37-16. Other scores at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin. The original Cheese Leaguers, the Packers, beat the Rams 14-6. Brett Favre, 5 for 6 for 42 yards, 3 scrambles for 15. The Browns beat the Giants 24-15. Vinny Testaverde, 13 for 28, 162 yards. The Giants went with Kent Graham, 12 for 23, also had 1 picked off. When Sports Weekly continues, we look back at Lefty's induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame, Steve Carlton in Cooperstown, and more in a minute. On basketball's transaction wire this week, the Celtics sign on Purvis Ellison, the latest acquisition in ML Carr's makeover of the green. In the NHL, Rick Zombo re-ups with the Blues. The Penguins sign former BU Terrier captain John Cullen. So the salary cap is the fix-all and be-all. Every pro league, it seems, wants to copy what the NBA has had recently, exponential growth accompanied by a salary cap. But how good can the cap be if the people who are supposed to benefit most from it, management, devote so much energy to circumventing it? Charlie Steiner has our look back at some of the week's news.
The NBA has put the brakes on 2 free agent contracts. Horace Grant, who signed with Orlando, and AC Green, who re-signed with Phoenix. They had their contracts voided on Tuesday when the league said they violated the salary cap rules using the opt-out clause. The player union, of course, disagrees, a resolution no doubt forthcoming. College football has broken the barrier to naming a national champion. The Bowl Alliance has decided that the Orange, Sugar, and Fiesta Bowls will take turns hosting a national championship game. The setup for the new alliance would involve 1 game each on New Year's Day and a title game on January 2nd. It's set to begin season after this one. More trouble for hockey bully Bob Probert. Preliminary tests show Probert had been using cocaine when he was arrested for drunken driving in connection with a motorcycle accident on July 15th. Police are conducting further blood tests, which should be completed next week. In 1989, Probert was arrested on charges of trying to smuggle cocaine across the Ontario-Michigan border. Trouble at the German Grand Prix on Sunday.
Oh, and fuel. That's the first time we've had a fuel splash. Oh, my goodness me.
A fuel hose coupling broke on Jos Verstappen's Benetton Ford, causing fuel to spill on the engine and the car to burst into flames. The driver and 4 mechanics treated for minor facial burns and released from a local hospital. In other racing news, Damon Hill said he received death threats that he would be shot if he challenged Michael Schumacher in the German Grand Prix. Hill is second to Schumacher in Formula One standings.
Well, I'm not that sentimental, first of all, but I always thought that I would finish my career in Boston, but we all know this is a business first. So I think both parties did what's best for them from a business standpoint.
Former Boston Celtics star Robert Parrish made a break for greener pastures on Thursday. The 40-year-old inked a multi-year deal with the Charlotte Hornets. The future Hall of Famer will be teamed with 2 powerhouses, Larry Johnson and Alonzo Mourning. Dickie Pride, a struggling rookie on the PGA Tour, finally broke into the win column on Sunday. Pride drained a 23-foot birdie on the first playoff hole to claim a victory at the St. Jude Classic. Pride had missed the cut in 12 of his previous 17 tournaments. Meanwhile, Sergei Bubka broke the world pole vault record for the 35th time in his career this week. Bubka vaulted 20 feet, 1.5 inches at a meet in Italy. Phil Rizzuto, Leo DeRocher, and Steve Carlton broke new ground in Cooperstown. Rizzuto and Carlton accepted the honor with pride and humorous tales.
Actually being voted into the Hall of Fame of baseball by the writers is like Rush Limbaugh being voted in by the Clintons, so.
Stopped in Richmond, Virginia, the first taste of Southern fried chicken. I tell you, it was delicious. But they gave me, hey, White, what's that stuff that looks like oatmeal? Grits. Grits. They gave me these grits, and I didn't know what to do with them. So I put them in my pocket.
Attorneys for one of the 2 defendants in the murder of Michael Jordan's father are presenting a new argument that James Jordan may have purposely and voluntarily disappeared and that the body which was found about 1 year ago was not his. The argument is based on James Jordan's debts to the Internal Revenue Service, credit card providers, and other creditors at the time of his death. James Jordan's body was found in a South Carolina creek. It was cremated before being identified by dental records. The defense motion has been filed on behalf of Daniel Green. North Carolina prosecutors say they will seek the death penalty for both Green and co-defendant Larry Demery. No trial date has been set. Still to come on SportsCenter, the comeback of Paul Azinger, a PGA champion a year ago next week, a cancer patient for the last 9 months. And next, a wild day for NASCAR at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, one of stock car racing's greatest afternoons, the inaugural Brickyard 400 in a minute. 500, about 500,000, I'll start again. Before they raced the Indy 500, about 500,000 people raised their voices to sing Back Home in Indiana. Tell Jeff Gordon about it. He could just about hear them sing growing up only 15 miles away. Gordon came back home to Indiana with his NASCAR buddies this week. The 23-year-old would put an exciting ending on the afternoon.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Well, they were well started by the 101st lap when that's Jeff Bodine tapping brother Brett and then going underneath him. And Brett says, well, mother might always love you better, but I can send you spinning around and into the wall right past the camera. A wild scene. It's amazing how few cars got taken out of the race. It was only Jeff Bodine and Dale Jarrett. You talk about your ultimate sibling rivalry.
We've had some family problems and personal problems between us here lately, and he just unfortunately took it out on the racetrack with me, and never expected he'd do it. He's my brother. I still love him, but he spun me out.
Well, it's Jeff Gordon battling with Ernie Irvan, and Gordon goes inside underneath, almost down to the apron in the corner with just 5 laps to go, and Gordon hangs on, goes all the way around and takes the checkered flag. Not bad for the guy who comes back home to Indiana. He wins the inaugural Brickyard 400. Brett Bodine, dents and all, gets second behind Gordon. In 5th, Dale Earnhardt, who is trying to tie Richard Petty with a 7th season point title. Ernie Irvan is second in the season series after finishing 17th. Ahead on Sports Weekly, is Dream Team 2 living up to its billing? We'll look at Team USA's progress at the Basketball World Championship Tournament. And next, we go camping, reviewing the week at NFL training camps. The IRS certainly will have fun reviewing the earnings of Redskins rookie Heath Shuler.
Airlines, you'll love the way we fly. And brought to you in part by Cellular One, clear across America. By Wendy's, after 25 years, quality is still our recipe. And by DuPont, better things for better living.
On the NFL transaction wire, the Dolphins figured they could do without quarterback Kelly Stoffer. Last night, Marino backup Bernie Kosar went 11 for 19, 155 yards, leading the Fins to 2 TDs. Defensive tackle Tony Casillas still lives in Dallas. Will he be working there as well? Cowboys owner and GM Jerry Jones has been quite specific about his team's interest. Yes, only if the NFL rules that Casillas is free and clear. Just how that possibility emerged is Gary Miller's first subject in his review of NFL training camps this week.
Kansas City and ex-Pro Bowler Tony Casillas have parted ways. After failing to report to training camp and amid rumors of health problems, the Chiefs have terminated the defensive tackle's contract. Casillas was signed as a free agent in April after winning back-to-back Super Bowls with the Cowboys. Speaking of Big D, Barry Switzer was looking for someone to back up Emmitt Smith. Derek Lassick, who filled that role last season, is out with a tendon injury. Roger Craig became a 49er again, but only for a day. The man, deemed the most prolific pass-catching running back in NFL history, wanted to retire with a team that gave him 3 Super Bowl rings.
Throughout my career, I received a lot of awards. I was on 3 Super Bowl championship teams. I was able to compete in 11 consecutive playoffs. 11 consecutive playoffs, that's something. Man, that was a great run when it lasted. The memories would definitely last a lifetime. With all of that, it doesn't compare to coming back and retiring with the 49ers.
Niner owner Eddie DeBartolo hopes to do the same for Joe Montana and Ronnie Lott when they're ready to retire. In a revolving door move after Craig walked out, Ricky Jackson strolled in. The Saints didn't offer enough for the services of the all-pro linebacker. Washington came to terms with their first-round draft pick, quarterback Heath Shuler. The two parties agreed on an 8-year deal worth a little over $19 million. There was also a clause allowing Shuler restricted free agency after just 3 years. The multimillionaire reported to training camp on the very next day. Tampa Bay followed suit, signing Trent Dilfer to an 8-year contract worth $16.5 million. Dilfer set an NCAA record by tossing 271 straight passes without an interception. After a 3-week holdout, Cleveland signed both of their first-rounders. Wide receiver Derek Alexander settled for 4 years at $700,000 per, and cornerback Antonio Langham for a little bit better, $4.6 million over the same amount of time. The Jets are hoping James Hasty makes a hasty recovery from minor knee surgery. The veteran cornerback is expected to miss 3 weeks, which should bring him back for the September 4th season opener at Buffalo. The Dog Days in Indianapolis are just beginning. After a $10 million donation, the Hoosier Dome has been renamed the RCA Dome. Indianapolis Mayor Stephen Goldsmith said the deal would increase the city's national prominence. And from the not enough scoring file, Denver coach Wade Phillips on his eagerness to take advantage of the new two-point conversion rule.
We will go for it basically every time in preseason. It's my philosophy because I want to find out what our percentages are, what plays we can and can't run and be effective with. So it's there, so we got to utilize it to our advantage, so to speak.
With time winding down, Wade decided to go the safe route and go for the tie. The Broncos lost in overtime by a field goal.
Now, the more things change. Later in Sports Weekly, how hard can it be to play ball every day? Major League players say it's a lot harder than you think to play every day. Cal Ripken's peers put him in perspective as the streak tops 2,000 consecutive games. And coming up next, the Dream Team's week. That's week with two E's, W-E-E-K, not W-E-A-K. A clarification in a minute. If Brazil beats the United States in basketball at the World Championships today, it would be as big an upset as it would have been had the U.S. beaten Brazil in the World Cup back on the 4th of July. This should mark the halfway point on Dream Team 2's march to the World Championship. Team USA's opener was an eye-opener, though, against Spain. The Spaniards played pretty tough right off the opening tip. They had a 2-0 lead. Alberto Herreros pulls up for the jumper and gets fouled by Reggie Miller. Spain's down by only 3. They cut the lead to 2, and then Herreros drains the tray, and they're up with less than 5 minutes to go in the half. Well, surprise, surprise, don't be so cocky. Mark Price works for the steal and dishes off to Reggie Miller for the jam, and the U.S. is up 8 at the break. The United States caps it off. Alonzo Mourning down to Sean Kemp, and the U.S. survives a 15-point win on Friday night. Yeah, the Chinese a little bit out of their league. Sean Kemp beginning and ending it, getting the pass from Shaquille O'Neal after the defensive pressure, and yeah, number 1 is going to do a number tonight. Kevin Johnson jamming off the steal. It's a 9-point lead. Dominique Wilkins takes the feed and boosts the bulge to 19. And Shaquille O'Neal down to Joe Dumars, a little fancy stuff. Dream Team wins by 55. Mismatch, no kidding.
I don't think that the Chinese players that I saw today are ready to play in the NBA. It was just that we were quicker and bigger and stronger, the reason that we won.
We just went out, played good defense, played together, passed the ball well, and we won. So I'm happy.
2 over and out. 1993 PGA champion Paul Azinger missed the cut in his first tournament since cancer treatment. It might be just as well because Azinger intends to defend his PGA championship later this week, and those who did make the cut at the Buick will have to play 36 holes today because Thursday's round got washed back to Friday. In Grand Blanc, Michigan yesterday, Azinger may not have had the best couple of days of his career, but he certainly was warmly received on 18. A shorty to finish his 2 days of work at 2 under 70 for the day, but 2 over and misses the cut. The leaders, Fred Couples on 15 from 30 feet away, and that has radar. 7 under for the day for Couples. Corey Pavin.
What'd you hit, Corey?
Dare we say it? Paving the way on 18.
Got up there.
Oh, this is the way it looks in the dreams.
Looks pretty good.
I think that's probably close enough for a birdie. What do you think? 7 under 65, 13 under for the tournament. Pavin keeps cranking along, following his Friday 66 with a 65. 4 back, Fred Funk. Davis Love III is tied for 3rd. Then Couples, Faldo, and Kite all at 7 under for the tournament. The ladies are at Stratton Mountain, Vermont. Betsy King, the leader after 2 rounds.
Because the mountain is on
A pretty nice effort here, but it just hangs on the lip. Carolyn Hill has been on the tour since 1980.
She's got it going
She is still looking for her first win. That's a pretty good sign. The leader, after 3 rounds, a sizzling 65 puts Hill at the top of the leaderboard. Nancy Ramsbottom has been very consistent, 69, 69, 70. Betsy King is only 3 back, still 1 win away from the LPGA Hall of Fame. The old fellas are in Concord, Massachusetts. Jim Albus has a 3-stroke lead on Ray Floyd. Women's tennis in Carlsbad, California. Conchita Martinez against Arantxa Sanchez Vicario. This is a rematch of the U.S. hard courts, which were in Stratton Mountain, Vermont, last week. These two played off the ground. Beauty! Sanchez Vicario gets caught in no man's land. Pretty sweet desperation half volley drop for the winner. Into the second set, Sanchez Vicario again on the near side and charging in. First volley's a beauty. Second volley is an easy put away. Sanchez Vicario wins 4-1. So it'll be a 1-2 punch in today's final in Carlsbad, a rematch of the '93 final there, which Steffi Graf won in 3 sets. The top-seeded Graf prevailed in yesterday's other semi, 3-4 over Tammy Whitlinger-Jones. Having dispatched one opponent from down under, Boris Becker meets another Aussie in today's final at the LA Open. Mark Woodford advanced by beating Richard Krajicek 6-3 in the third. When SportsCenter continues the week that was in baseball, the Royals go back a few years, challenging an historic winning streak. This week, the Mariners send Alex Rodriguez down, which means he'll keep playing and keep getting paid in case there's a strike. Mike Scioscia decides to hang him up, and here's the list of the luckily injured. Players on the DL continue to get paid if there is a strike. How many fans really believe the PR spin put forth by representatives of owners and players in the baseball labor battle? What the fans think hasn't meant much to the two sides, which have locked out and or struck in 6 of the last 22 springs and summers. But that doesn't stop the principals from providing with their mouths what we see naturally so often at Wrigley: the wind blowing out.
We think this strike hurts the fans, hurts the game of baseball, and we don't think we have any obligation for an act of good faith when they are closing this game down and depriving thousands of other people of their employment.
Too many of them, maybe to Dick. This isn't serious business. It's sort of a game. And to most of the rest of us, it's pretty serious business.
Trying to take rights away that was already in place and trying to change old laws and old rules that we set down. I mean, you can't do that. You got to stick with the union. You got to stand up for your right.
You know, the fraternity of baseball players is real strong, and we understand why we're in the position we're in today. We understand what guys did for us to make the things that we're taking advantage of today reality, and we're very much set in our ways to make sure that we keep those same opportunities for not only the guys that are here now, but the guys that are going to be here in a few years. And I think we take a lot of pride in being able to preserve that, and I don't know if people understand that.
Trying to figure out exactly when the labor strife will end is an enterprise which certainly will inspire many office pools. In the meantime, Major League teams find themselves putting on the October stretch run in August, knowing that the photo finish for this season may snap early. Linda Cohn handicaps the field with the Week in Review.
In the 1994 strike stakes, who will be first under the wire at the August 12th deadline? The Expos are out of the gate and leading early. A streak of 6 straight wins. 14 of the last 15 was snapped this week. But Tuesday, Ken Hill notched his 15th win of the season, a 5-4 victory over the Cards. Hill reached the 15-win plateau faster than anyone in club history. Monday night, the Expos and Cardinals were tied at 2 when Marquise Grissom led off the 10th and delivered. Gerald Young butchers it, and Grissom touches them all for an inside-the-park home run and an extra innings win.
They continue down the backstretch.
There's no question that Joe Carter is a thoroughbred, but Monday he took on the look of a trotter. At Fenway, Carter stroking the 300th home run of his career. Thursday, he picked up his 100th RBI of the season, putting him over the century mark in ribbies for the 6th time in his career. For the Braves, Greg Maddux has certainly been the workhorse of the Atlanta staff. His 9th complete game of the season coming in Monday's win over the Mets. Unfortunately for the Braves, the bullpen has come up lame, blowing their 13th save of the season Wednesday. Mark Wohlers victimized by the Mets, and Jose Vizcaino's 9th inning heroics.
They go to the far turn.
The Royals have made a move from the pack in the AL Central and have charged hard with the 2nd longest winning streak in club history. Bob Hamlin, wearing a Kansas City Monarchs uniform, broke Bo Jackson's club record for homers by a rookie with his 23rd on Wednesday. David Cohn has maneuvered Kansas City into striking distance of the leaders with his 16th victory of the season on Tuesday.
And down the stretch they come.
But out in front of the field, the Yankees, the hottest team since the All-Star break. Jimmy Key trying to win 20 for the first time in his career, leading the majors in wins right now with his 17th. It happened Friday night in Minnesota. Monday, Melito Perez picking up his 6th straight win, at one point retiring 17 of 19 Brewers he faced in an 8-3 victory. Thursday, the Bombers had 19 hits in the Homer Dome. Bernie Williams smashing 3 doubles off Twins pitching, one of 4 Yanks with 3 hits on the night. It's the Yanks in front.
All right, Linda, here are July's hottest hitters from the senior circuit. Jeff Bagwell, Barry Bonds, Matt Williams. You can see all these guys on Sunday Night Baseball tonight. Greg Maddux sizzles along, his ERA for the month barely above 1. Mark Portugal hurt his knee in a play at first in Houston on Friday night. Too bad for him. In the American League, Carlos Baerga was a one-man greenhouse effect, and Albert Bell did his bit for global warming, that is, with 12 dingers and 31 RBIs in July. Jack McDowell led the Moundsmen with a 1.69 ERA and 5 wins, along with teammate Alex Fernandez. Randy Johnson, fan 54. More from New York now.
There may be only 5 days left in the baseball season. 5 days for Matt Williams to catch Roger Maris, for Tony Gwynn to get to 400, for Frank Thomas to win the Triple Crown. Instead, we might get Donald Fear and Richard Ravitch behind closed doors. Who's right in baseball's latest labor dispute? The billionaire owners or the millionaire players? That's the subject of our face-off today between Mitch Albom of the Detroit Free Press and Tony Kornheiser of the Washington Post. And Kornheiser opens the negotiation.
Mitch, I've never been an owner's guy, but let's not make this players' union as if these guys are on an assembly line in Detroit. They're making an average of $1.4 million apiece, and if you can guarantee that pool of money, there's no reason they can't take a salary cap.
Well, $1.4 million may be a lot for a guy on an assembly line, but it's not for an actor in a movie who gets $20 million. Why should they accept an artificial limit when up till now they've been able to get the sky as the limit? Until a team goes out of business, and I haven't seen one go out of business recently, the players are going to say they've got the money, they're just hiding it, and they don't want to pay it.
An owner in this country, an owner of a newspaper, an owner of anything, has a right to set a certain salary limit, and an employee has the right to move. If you open up free agency, then players can move and they can go to any team they want, and maybe a new league will start. Maybe there'll be an influx of money that way, like with the AFL or the ABA.
But the case you make, you don't have, like, newspapers saying, well, we're all going to set the exact same limit. Yeah, one paper can set it within, but you're talking about all 28 teams having the exact same ceiling. Why on earth should the players accept that?
It's worked for the NBA. I think it's going to work for the NFL.
The NBA needed
I think baseball may need it, too. They've got to open the books, but when they do, I hope that satisfies you.
If they open the books, you'll see that they don't need it that bad.
Newspapers have salary limits, huh?
Not
Bill
for
Conlon,
you.
Not in his
Not
newspaper.
for you.
Boy, your newspaper.
Bill Conlon will join Mitch and Tony on the Sports Reporters coming up on the hour. We'll be discussing baseball strike zone. Will the big show go on? College football, can the Bowl Alliance crown a champion? Dream Team 2, is the sequel as good as the original?
Thanks, Mike. Later in Sports Weekly, the Penguins are still mum on the status of Mario Lemieux, who we reported last week would sit out at least half of the upcoming hockey season. And next, beyond 2000, Cal Ripken Jr. passes a milestone, chasing the Iron Horse.
I always thought that I'll be able to play a long time, and I'll be able to play a defensive position instead of just moving over to DH, which a lot of players do towards the end of their careers.
The second longest active consecutive games played streak in the majors belongs to Florida's Jeff Conine, 269. Then there's Rip, 2005 and counting. Mike Tirico has the story of the Iron Horse in the age of the bullet train.
It was a hazardous job. It's those everyday hazards of playing the game at shortstop that make Cal Ripken's accomplishments all the more remarkable.
He got him. What a play by Cal.
Sensational.
Shortstop's got to be the cutoff man. He's got to go to cover the bag. He's got to go down the left field line, left center. And if you got a second baseman with a mediocre arm and you have the good arm, you got to be the trailer. And
he get spiked on a double play and knocked in the left field, but he's pretty big, so he can handle himself.
I remember sliding into him one day in Anaheim. I just kind of like stuck to his leg, and you know, he's a big guy, 6'4", 6'5", and you know, whatever he weighs, he's put together pretty well. But it take a pretty good sized man to bring him down.
Sometimes it's good being 6'4", 220 when you have a runner coming into you. But I don't know. I mean, I always thought that I'll be able to play a long time, and I'll be able to play a defensive position instead of just moving over to DH, which a lot of players do towards the end of their careers.
Orioles manager Johnny Oates hasn't even considered moving Ripken to a less physically demanding position to potentially extend Cal's career. At this point, Oates isn't about to lose Ripken's Gold Glove skills at shortstop.
Cal Ripken back at second. Whirls, fires, got him.
I really don't get that much mail anymore that he needs a day off, but he's a year older and probably playing as well as he's ever played, defensively, offensively. He's making all the plays. He's been a lot of fun to watch play this year. He's been very consistent from day one.
And with 13 years of experience in the major leagues, Ripken plays not only hard, but smart. After suffering arm soreness early in his career, Cal found a way to get the ball across the diamond accurately without having to put everything on every throw.
When I played third, I call it the Greg Nettles flip, that I just kind of flipped it over there, have enough on it to get the ball there and get the guy out. When I went back to short, I was able to do that again. So I have an arm, and when I need to use it, I go in the hole and I use it. But for everyday routine plays, I've been able to get the ball over there without having to really tax it too much.
But there's no getting around the mental demands of the position, and playing every day just adds to the burden.
You have to be able to go out there and go get through it and grind your way through the bad days and don't get too high on the good days. You're in on every single pitch. You have hit and run coverages, you have bunt plays, you have cutoffs and relays, and you are actually directing things from the middle of the diamond.
So he's basically the field general, and that, more than anything, the mental part of the game is more draining than the physical.
When you prepare yourself mentally, I think you can do everything you want, and that's what Cal, I bet you do that.
Back when Lou Gehrig was playing in 2,130 consecutive games, the man he replaced atop the all-time list was Everett Scott. Scott was, like Gehrig, a Yankee, and like Ripken, a shortstop. His 1,307 straight games still rank third all-time, but only Gehrig and Ripken have made it to 2,000 straight.
I can't fathom going out there and playing, 2,000 games, 250 games in a row, but he does it, and more power to him.
I played in 2,000 games. I wouldn't say they were not straight, so I just can't imagine anyone doing it. And if Cal, you're listening, get out of there and take a rest. But he's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
I think he needs some vacation. He should. I think the way he plays, as soon as he breaks the record, he should go with his wife, go somewhere, play a couple days in Vegas, couple days in Europe, and come back and play a game. He deserved that.
Interesting coincidence. As of the moment, Ripken's streak is at 2005. If the streak were to end there, Jeff Conine, second on the list, actively, would have to play in every game until midway through the year, until midway through the season, that is, in the year 2005, in order to match it. Well, if you can figure that one out, more power to you. When SportsCenter continues, the story of Paul Azinger's comeback. The 1993 PGA champion resumed playing competitive golf this week. Last November, he found he had cancer. There is comfort in the return to the routine.
It's been a long road, but it went quickly. And I'm looking forward to playing competitive golf again for the first time in over 9 months.
Sports Weekly is presented by Delta Airlines. You'll love the way we fly.
Still no word from the Pittsburgh Penguins regarding last Sunday's ESPN report that Mario Lemieux would miss at least half of the upcoming NHL season. Lemieux is coming off more back surgery and last spring suffered with anemia, which may have been related to his 1993 radiation treatment to combat Hodgkin's disease. Paul Azinger is the defending PGA champion. He is also one of the more likable professional athletes in America. Last November, he was diagnosed with cancer in his shoulder. Now, his hair is back and his game is coming back, beginning this week in Grand Blanc, Michigan. Jimmy Roberts was there as Azinger got more hugs than handshakes, returning to the tour's embrace.
What's up, Eddie? Hey, Paul, how you doing? Good.
Hey, man, good to see you.
At 8:34 Tuesday morning, Paul Azinger got out of his car and stepped into a life he had left behind 9 months ago.
How you doing? Good to see you.
You did a lot of prayers.
I appreciate it.
Looking good.
Feel good.
No offense to the fine people who staged this tournament, But this is not what Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. normally looks like in the press room at this event.
It's been a long road, but it went quickly. And I'm looking forward to playing competitive golf again for the first time in over 9 months. I just am so happy to be here. You know, I'm going to enjoy the day. I'm sure that my competitive juices will start flowing shortly after I tee off.
On his first day back, Azinger played 9 holes with Ed Fiore and Dave Stockton Jr., as well as a late afternoon charity event. In the morning, he was 2 over par.
Oh, not like the carpet back home, is it?
That's the worst putt I've ever hit.
He was a little rusty, but, you know, that's to be expected. It doesn't matter. He'll be back. You know, it takes a while for that golf to come back to you.
It was good out there. I didn't really hit it very good, didn't play that good, and, but it's good to be back. It's nice to hit some shots to yardages.
From parking lot.
Hey, Fanny.
Hi,
How you doing?
see you back.
Good to be
How you
back.
feeling, all right?
Yeah, feel great.
Good, good.
To practice tee, and everywhere in between, Azinger was warmly greeted.
We all might want to back up. Back up. I'll sign every one of them. There's a ton of people out here on a Tuesday, and I'm just excited to be back.
Welcome back, Zinger.
Thank you.
Hair grows fast. Last night I saw him on TV, he was bald, so... Oh, sure, of course it's nice to see him back after what he's been through.
As anybody who has had cancer will tell you, the disease and the battle back are all consuming. But now Azinger is trying to shift his focus.
I can't help but deal with the fact that I had cancer, but I'm one of the thousands and thousands of people who have recovered from the disease, and so I'm now a survivor, and I'm looking forward to playing a game again that I really have missed.
So now the question is, how good can he be? How quickly can he be good? With a smile, Azinger says he has been sick for 9 months, but very soon he expects to be sharp enough to make all those other guys on tour sick of seeing him atop the PGA leaderboards. Reporting from Grand Blanc, Michigan, I'm Jimmy Roberts, ESPN.
All right, Jimmy. And Azinger 2 over for 2 rounds in Grand Blanc, Michigan. Missed the cut of -1, but he intends to defend his PGA championship in Tulsa. Up next, the sports reporters. I'll be back in half an hour with SportsCenter. Until then, I'm Jack Edwards wishing you good morning.